Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum. I remind myself and everyone that hold on to the rope of Allah by having taqwa, seeking nearness to Allah, by performing your wajibat and recommended mustahabat on time, and guard yourselves against evil and forbidden act. Every day is a jihadun nafs day for us, and we should strive for that every time and consistently, even though the environment here is overwhelming. Ask Allah for help to increase your taqwa in obedience to Him, and seek refuge from the accursed shaitan. Remember, Allah is still watching you when nobody else is watching you. So refrain from committing sins. And to add to that, remember Allah often. Remember Allah often. Remember Allah every day, in the morning, in the afternoon, and at night. As stated in Surah Al-Azhab, ayat 41 and 42. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اذكروا الله الذي ذكرا كثيرا وسبحوه بكرة وأصيلا. O ye who believe, remember Allah by remembering Him frequently and glorifying Him morning and evening. So this ayah is very important. We should be remembering Allah more often, as Allah is telling us that we should do it. And we hardly remember it. We just pray 5 times a day, and then we go to our business, and then we meet again in Maghrib, Isha, and so forth. But Allah is saying, remember me often in hardship, when in good times, when in pain, when in health issues. Remember Him all the time. This ayah cannot be emphasized enough. In speaking of taqwa, we discuss about taqwa throughout the year, but this is the season of Hajj, and Allah emphasizes taqwa even during the journey of Hajj, as said in the ayah of Surah Baqarah, ayah number 197, says, which talks about taqwa and akhlaq during Hajj. وَتَزَوَّدُوا فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ زَادِ التَّقْوَى وَاتَّقُونِ يَا أُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. So make provision for your journey of Hajj. And verily the best provision for Hajj is piety, taqwa. And fear me, O ye people of understanding. So we have been emphasizing taqwa throughout the year. During Hajj, as described in this ayat, taqwa is more important than ever and is part of the Hajj's journey. During the journey of Hajj, which is the month of Shawwal, Zilqa'dah, the most important, the Zilhajj is the culmination of it, one must do solemn submission to Allah. All acts that deter devotion must be stopped, including those acts which are lawful in other days. The aim is to bring spiritual progress through a whole time to devotion to Allah. The pilgrim has to fully restrain all his passion of selfishness, controlling himself from uttering any word of annoyance and hurting anybody or hurting anything. While money and food is important provision for the Hajj, the best provision that Hujjaj can carry is a taqwa. As I said before, we are doing Hajj qurbatan ila Allah. So the focus of Hajj should be pleasing Allah and attaining nearness to Allah, and the rest is secondary. That should be our prime goal to go to Hajj. Similarly, in the journey of life, taqwa is the best provision. And remember, the life will come to an end, that is death. And therefore, gather your provision as much as you can. Maintain your akhlaq, do your wajibat, do your mustahabat, and refrain from forbidden acts. And remember Allah often, because one day death will hit us and we will have to be prepared for it. Speaking of death, we have to be cognizant of it every day. This could be our last day. So fear Allah and gather provision for the hereafter. Now, Imam Ali has frequently said in his book of Nahjul Balagha, I advise you, servants of Allah, have taqwa of Allah, for it is a provision for tomorrow and the refugee forever. Another well-known statement from Imam Ali is, taqwa is the key to guidance, the provision for the hereafter, freedom from every slavery, and salvation from every destruction. Another important thing I spoke in my previous lecture, that is Zainab, is hubbud dunya, love for this world, chasing unneeded wealth, as if we are going to be here forever. What Allah gives you is good for you and enjoy it. But always remember, Allah, and it is because of Allah, you are what Allah has provided you. Do not become too much attached to this world. Remember Allah. When you build wealth or when you work, you make some money, everything, always think Allah, do your wajibat, pay homes, pay zakat, help the needy. And that's the way it should be. Not accumulating wealth upon wealth, because that is not what we should be doing, It's good to have some wealth, but we should not be consumed by it, We should not be consumed by it. We should take it as Allah gives us, and be thankful for it, and we should not form attachment to this world, basically, Don't form it. Always remember Allah. Now, since this is the season of Hajj, some of us have done it, and some of us will, inshallah, do it in the near future. Inshallah, whoever hasn't gone to Hajj, inshallah, they get barakah to go next year. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Hajj. Allah says in Surah Al-Imran, ayat 97, وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حُجَّةُ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا وَمَنْ كَفَرَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ عَنِ الْعَالَمِينَ. And purely for God, it is incumbent upon mankind the pilgrimage to the house for those who can afford the journey. And whoever denieth, verily God is self-sufficient, independent of all the worlds. So Hajj is prescribed and mandatory for Muslims. Very important ibadah. And the third in the Furwa Deen after Salah and Saum. Hajj becomes wajib whenever somebody attains istita'. Istita' meaning he has the means to travel to Mecca and return and have provisions, business or work for up to a year. It cannot be delayed. You cannot say that I have to tour the world first, or I have to do this, I have to do that. When it becomes wajib, you have to do it right away. Also, debts and khums, zakat, and other obligations must have been settled. Our Ahl Bayt have said that anyone whose Hajj has become wajib and does not go to Hajj, he will be resurrected as a non-Muslim during Qiyamah. It is like denying the command of Allah. The ayah that I just said is self-explanatory. The ayah of Hajj is explicit, like the ayah of fasting, which says, كُتِبَ عَلَيْهِ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ الَّذِينَ قَبْلَكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. This ayah is number 183 of Surah Baqarah. So Hajj ayah is explicit that you have to go to Hajj, as explicit as it was told in the fasting. Allah is explicit in ayah 183 that you have to fast, and ayah 197 of Surah Baqarah, he explicitly states that you have to go to Hajj for that. And in this ayah, basically, in the last part of the Hajj ayah that I recited, Allah uses the word kafara, and that means whoever is denying Hajj, and he's denying Hajj, he's doing kufr, basically. The word kafar has been used, and Allah is needless from the alameen. And So basically, kufr, you should always never deny that when Hajj becomes wajib, you should not say that I'm going to Hawaii or I'm going there and then I'll go to Hajj. When you have the money, you should do your obligation. And if you don't do your obligation, then you are like committing kufr. And also one more thing about this, Allah is saying, I'm needless. So whatever ibadah you do, like if you are praying, you are fasting, Allah has asked you to do it. But Allah is needless of your prayer. He's needless of your fast. You're not doing him a favor. In fact, he is doing you a favor by asking you to fast and obey him and listen to him. In doing Hajj, intention is not only sufficient, must be accompanied by actions. Allah has commanded us to do with intentions. Action can be done after a person has attained financial and health sufficiency. The Hajj ayat has three aspects to it: jurisprudence dimension, spiritual understanding, and of Allah being needless. Allah being needless, like I said before, nobody is doing Allah a favor. He is needless. If you pay zakat, khums, qarz hasana, or donation, you are not doing anyone a favor. But yourself, as it relates to Allah, you should expect reward only from Allah for whatever good you do, whatever you donate. Because like Allah said, Allah is needless of anything. We need Allah more than ever, and He does not need anything from us at all. If you are doing to perform amal correctly, spiritual understanding by following the Hajj ahkam, such as Salat, Tawaf, in different places at different times, such as Arafat, Muzdalifah, Mina, Qurbani, Taksir, Ihram, Miqat, and more. Imam Jafar Sadiq has said doing Hajj without sincerity is just enduring hardship. So it has to be done with sincere heart. Like Imam Ali had said, fasting without sincerity is just enduring hardship. So it has to be done with sincerity. Hajj basically has to change and transform a person and improve iman, increase akhlaq, and become closer to Allah. A person performing Hajj, when he returns, he is like a newborn with no sins with him. Basically, all sins are erased when he is blessed with Hajj. And now I'm going to talk about what is being done at the Hajj. Now, for example, you have to go to Hajj and do Tawaf, do Safa Marwa. So now Kaaba, Safa Marwa, and others are all signs of Allah, Sha'irullah. Kaaba is not just a brick and mortar building. These are the means to which we seek nearness to Allah. Same thing with Safa and Marwa. These two small hills are the signs of Allah that is mentioned in the Quran. Everyone in Hajj is equal in the eyes of Allah. The rich, the poor, wear the same two pieces of unstitched clothes known as ihram. It's jamarat, snoring of the devil, to know what sins I've committed and promise not to do them again. And then there's talbiyah, labbaik, Allahumma labbaik. That's what we do and when we are at the Hajj. Now, for most important day of Hajj is the day of Arafah. For the Hujjaj, they must be in the plains of Karbala, or otherwise the Hajj is not valid. You must be on the plains of Arafah in the afternoon of the day of Arafah. And for us who are not going to Hajj, we are here, the key amal for the day of Arafah is to perform ghusl, highly recommend the ghusl before noon, ziyarat of Imam Hussein, recite ziyarat of Imam Hussein, highly emphasized. And visiting ziyarat on this day of Arafat is also very rewarding, basically. Some people go to Hajj, some people go to Arafah as makhsusi to do ziyarat of Imam Hussein. And then there's supplication of prayers of Zuhr and Asr. And then in the afternoon, it is highly recommended, very highly recommended, to recite the famous Dua Arafah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And that is the ultimate act of worship for the day. I do have some quoted, but I did not bring them because it's going to take a little longer, but I recommend highly to recite Dua of Imam Hussein during the afternoon of Arafah if you can. And it's a little long, but it's once a year, so you can, if you can do it, you should do it. And on the day of Arafah, fasting is also recommended. Immense reward is provided. And if you have physical weakness, then you can maybe perform other recommended prayers and supplications. And also for the Hajj, there is Qurbani. For example, the Hujjaj in Hajj, it's mandatory for them to do Qurbani. But for us here, who are here, it's Sunnah for those who are financially capable, though it is mandatory for those performing Hajj. The ritual requires specific acts of intention, animal eligibility, and timing. Timing and preparation. Timing, the sacrifice can be offered on the day of Eid al-Adha after Eid prayer and is completed after the sun is risen. In most optimal is to perform the Qurban on the first day, although it is permissible on the 11th and 12th of Zil Hajjah to perform the Qurbani if you can. And the niyyah should be there also. You must make the niyyah slowly for the pleasure of Allah. Can't emphasize enough, all ibadah we do is for the pleasure of Allah to commemorate the obedience of Prophet Ibrahim. And then you can just distribute to the poor, to the family members, to the needy. And finally, Imam Zainul Abidin in his Salatul Hukuk says the rights of parents, the rights of wife, the rights of children, the rights of neighbor, the rights of relatives, and other, and the rights of Hajj. When you have been invited by Allah, and this is the way to wash and run away from your sins and attaining istighfar. Going to Hajj is firar. That means running away from your sins and attaining istighfar. So that basically covers the Hajj. This is the season of Hajj, and we should pray for each other. We should pray for those who have not been to Hajj, should be able to go to Hajj in the next year or in the near future. And if we should be allowed to go to Umrah, and we should be able to go and visit the Rasulullah, do ziyarat of Rasulullah, and our Imam Baki and with Fatima. So inshallah, Allah will bless us with that if we pray for him and everything. And salawat. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وأمينك وصفيك وحبيبك وخيرك من خلقك وحافظ سرك مبلغ رسالاتك أفضل وأحسن وأجمل وأكمل وأزكى وأنمى وأطيب وأطهر وأسنى وأكثر ما صليت وباركت وترحمت وتحننت وسلمت على أحد من عبادك وأنبيائك ورسلك وصفتك وأهل الكرامة عليك من خلقك اللهم صل على علي أمير المؤمنين ووصي رسول رب العالمين عبدك وليك وأخي رسولك وحجتك على خلقك وآيتك الكبرى والنبأ العظيم وصل على الصديقة الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء سيد نساء العالمين وصل على سبط الرحمة وإمام الهدى الحسن والحسين سيد شباب أهل الجنة وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الحادي المهدي وجدك على عبادك ومنائك في بلادك صلاة كثيرة دائمة. اللهم صل على ولي أمير المؤمنين ولي أمير أمرك القائم المؤمر والعبد المنتظر وخفوا بملائكتك المقربين وأيد بروح القدس يا رب العالمين. So in the next my next khutbah, I'm going to talk about we have two shahadat coming up. It's the shahadat of Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam and Imam of Hazrat Muslim Naqil, the ambassador of Imam Hussein to Karbala. As most of you know, the tragedy of Karbala started with Muslim Naqil. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam. And his full name is Abu Ja'far Muhammad ibn Ali Hussein. He was the son of Ali ibn Hussein Zain al-Abidin and the grandson of Hussein ibn Ali. Through his mother, he was also connected to Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba, making him descendant from both Hassan and Hussein. As a young child, Imam Baqir witnessed the aftermath of the tragedy of Karbala, where his grandfather Imam Hussein and family members were martyred. This event deeply influenced his teachings and his life. Meaning of Al-Baqir. The title Al-Baqir means the one who opens the knowledge or the one who splits open the knowledge, reflecting his reputation for deep learning and wisdom. He is also referred to as Ilm al-Nabiyyin and has acquired knowledge of the Prophet. After the death of his father, Imam Muhammad Baqir became Imam during this period. The Umayyad were facing political instability that allowed Imam Baqir more opportunity to teach openly compared to some earlier Imams. So he had more opportunity because the Umayyad dynasty was faltering, and he taught Quranic interpretation, Islamic law, theology, ethics, and spirituality. Imam Baqir is considered one of the major founders of Shia intellectual tradition. Many narrations are reported from him. Ja'far as-Sadiq, his son and successor, was one of his students also. Scholars from different Islamic schools also benefited from his teachings. His era helped preserve the teaching of Prophet Muhammad's family and Ahlul Bayt. One of the Sahaba of Prophet, Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, was foretold by the Prophet that he will live to witness the fifth Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam. Jabir asked the child his name. When he heard Muhammad ibn Ali, he embraced him and conveyed his greetings of the Prophet exactly as instructed decades earlier. This event is considered significant because it is seen as the sign of the Prophet's knowing future knowledge, foreknowledge basically. An honor bestowed on Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam that he got greetings from the Prophet of Islam. Evidence of continuity of the Prophet lineage and knowledge. Muhammad Baqir later became renowned for his scholarship and teaching. Many important Islamic scholars narrated from him, and he played a major role in developing Islamic jurisprudence and theology. Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari is also remembered for participating in many battles along the Prophet, narrating numerous hadiths, and being among the first visitors to Karbala after the martyrdom of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. This meeting between Jabir and Muhammad Baqir is frequently mentioned in the works of Islamic history, hadith, and Shia biography literature. Imam Baqir avoided political activities, basically, focusing instead on education and spiritual leadership. However, he lived during difficult time under Umayyad rulers, and members of the Prophet's family were often monitored or pressured by the authorities. According to historical and Shia tradition, Imam Muhammad Baqir was poisoned in 114 al-Hijrah, while the ultimate responsibility is attributed to Umayyad Caliph Hisham ibn Abdul Malik. Historical accounts differ on who had directly administered the poison, pointing to either Caliph's nephew, Ibrahim ibn Walid, or the governor of Medina, which is Hisham ibn Abdul Malik. The Umayyad rulers viewed Imam's immense scholarly influence, spiritual leadership, and growing influence as a major political threat, and that's why he was poisoned and killed by the Umayyad. Now we're going to go to the Shahadat of Imam Muslim ibn Aqil alayhi salam. As you know, he was the ambassador of Imam Hussein to Iraq. When 18,000 letters were sent to Imam to come to Iraq, in those days, there was no email, there was no post office, there was not even a paper to write on. The 18,000 people took a lot of effort, a lot of time to write to Imam Hussein. And then they didn't have paper, they had other basically material to write on it, and then delivering those letters. So the asking of the Iraqi people was overwhelming. And in turn, Imam Hussein sent Muslim ibn Aqil before he arrived himself. In Hijri 60, after the death of Umayyad Muawiyah, many people in Kufa invited Hussein ibn Ali to come and lead them against Yazid. Hussein sent Muslim ibn Aqil as his representative to assess the sincerity or the support. Initially, thousands of Kufan pledged allegiance to Hussein through Muslim ibn Aqil. However, Yazid appointed Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, and he used intimidation, threats, and tribal pressure to turn people against Muslim ibn Aqil. Gradually, support abandoned until he was left almost alone. Muslim ibn Aqil sought refuge in the house of Hani bin Urwa, but the location was discovered. Hani was killed. Muslim then fought bravely against the governor forces in the streets of Kufa despite being heavily outnumbered. Historical narration described him as resisting fiercely before being wounded and captured. After his arrest, Muslim ibn Aqil was brought before Ibn Ziyad, and he refused to submit humbly to the governor. Eventually, Ibn Ziyad ordered his execution. Muslim was taken to the top of the governor's palace and beheaded on 9th Hajj in Al-Hijrah 60. His body was thrown down afterward. Before his death, Muslim reportedly grieved not for himself, but for Hussein and the family of the Prophet, knowing that they were traveling to Kufa unaware for the betrayal, retaining them basically, So, and then we know what happened. Imam went to Karbala, Imam went to Iraq, and then he was diverted to Karbala, and then we know what happened. And finally, before I end my khutbah, I would say the beautiful sayings come from the Holy Quran, says Surah Baqarah. In it, Allah promises, so remember me and I will remember you, and thank me and never be ungrateful. This is Surah Baqarah, Ayah 152. This is mutual remembrance, basically. When you keep Allah in your thoughts, heart, and action, known as zikr, He reciprocates by mentioning, guiding, and blessing you. Gratitude. The verse connects remembrance directly to gratitude, encouraging believer to be thankful for his favors rather than taking for granted. The Prophet explained the depth of this divine promise. If you remember Allah in your heart, Allah remembered you in Himself. If you remember Him in a group, He remembered you in a better and greater gathering among the angels. And so it's important to remember Allah often. If you pray 5 times a day, I guarantee you that Allah will remember you and Allah will help you in the daily problems that you have. So, in Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, wal asr, inna al-insana lafi khusr, illa alladhina amanu wa amilu as-salihati, وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.
اللهم صل على محمد